Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for coming over and joining us. So on this video I'm going to show you how I achieved this effect up here. This is actually the same blank. I've just turned it off, sanded it back up to 400 grit, blown all the grain out so it's all nice and dry, clean, dust free, and we're ready to go to the next process. So the way I achieved the colouring on it, or the texture looking on it, was via some what they call pinstripe tape. And basically what this is different, it's a real narrow tape that is used in the automotive business, and it's basically designed to give you a nice sharp crisp line. Now the problem we have when we're spraying onto timber is obviously if we put the colours on too thick and too heavy at a time, we will get bleed through on the grain. Now we can get over that by sealing the piece of wood first, but I don't want to. I want to be able to, I want the colours to soak into the timber. Not too much that's going to bleed through, but enough that it's going to be fixed into the timber and not just sitting on the surface. So the idea is nice light coats. So this comes in several different thicknesses, as you can see. You can get it from eBay or Amazon or any decent automotive shop. So I'm going to use a couple of different thicknesses, and we're going to try and get the similar sort of effect to what I got on the last one. The colours we're going to be using are the Carnival colours. We are going to be putting them through an airbrush, and hopefully we can get a desired finish very similar to the one we did before. So further ado, let's crack on with it. So we don't want curved lines, we want straight lines, so we're going to try and keep them as straight as possible. So the first one I'm going to put across is straight across my bowl, like so, and that's going to be my first line. Now we want to make sure we push this all on nice and tight, because we don't want any colour getting underneath it, so we need to make sure we push it on nice and firm. You can get a little roller and just roller it out just to give it that little bit of extra secure if you want to, but usually if you go with your finger it normally works quite well. So we're just going to go over this with this, and we're going to do a couple of lines across to get the start of our pattern. Now it will take a little while. You can change it as you go along, you can alter it a little bit, but it's just a case of seeing what you want. I don't like too bigger sections. I like quite small sections, so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to create some little sections as well as larger sections, and we'll see how it comes out. So I'll put this on and I'll come back to you when it's all on. Right, so I think We've got up as masked up as we can get, so I'm just going to get a little roller, just so I can roll over them, just to push them down a little bit further, a little bit harder. So I've just got a little rubber roller here, just so I can push these down a little bit better. Concentrating more on the joints than anything else, where they're overlapping. That's where the colours are going to bleed through, if anywhere. So we need to try and get them as down as tight as possible. So that's all the push down. So I think we are good to go. So what we need to do now is get some colours. Now if you haven't got an airbrush, you can do these with a paintbrush. Obviously you just need to be careful not to put too much colour on in one go. You're better off doing it in 2 to 3 light coats and gradually build up the depth of the colour than doing it heavy with an airbrush, heavy with one coat, sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my airbrush, and I'm going to start with some light colours first. So like I say, these are the new Carnival colours. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to test them on a piece of paper first, make sure we get the flow right, and like I say, we're putting real light coats on first, and we're just going to gradually build up that colour. So I just want a bare minimum come out my gun, like so, because we don't want to flow over the tape if we can get away with it. So we just want a little real fine jet coming out just to cover our piece. And like I said, we're going to go over it in a couple of coats to build up that depth of colour. So it's basically just random areas that you're looking for, just to blow in those colours. And we're not putting it on heavy. If we put it on heavy, it's going to go underneath our tape, which is not what we really want. We really want it to be light, and we're just putting the bare minimum on each coat, and we're going to build up that colour in our depth of colour. If you go over it again, it will automatically make the colour much brighter and much more in your face. So and the idea of putting the light colour on first is that if we do go over our line, then the next colour will cover it anyway. So I think we'll just do one here. Then we can start going. This is dry now, so we can give it another coat. Let's build up so you can see now that the yellow is automatically coming much brighter. Now if you want a sharper line, move your gun closer. If you want a sharper line, you can move your gun much closer to the piece, and that won't give you so much overspray. So I think we need another one somewhere. Perhaps here. So I'm just going to keep going over this just so we can build up this yellow. Now these are very similar to the intrinsics. You don't really see the correct colour until you get some sand and sealer over it. Once you get sand and sealer over it, that's when it actually starts to show the true colour of it. Alright, so that'll be all the yellow for now. So we're going to clean our gun out. What we can do is we can use the next colour to blow a lot of that colour out of there. We'll clean most of the colour out. And then we'll use the... so the next colour I'm going to use is orange. Give it a good shake. Exactly the same principle. Alright, so orange. Looking for that fine control on the airbrush. So I think, is that all of them again? It's just remembering which ones you've gone over, really. But it's starting to take shape, as you can see. We're starting to get the colours on it. We're starting to get the blending. So it's just a case of really just going over it until you get the so you don't want to flood it, because what you'll do is you'll get bleeding out. So it's just light coats, just building up the depth of colour with those light coats. So that'll do for the orange. So we'll go to our next colour, which will be red. So red is our next one, so we're going to start here, I think. Now it's always hard to get a proper red. They normally come out pink. So we're going to see how this comes out. Let's go for this one here. It's come out a little bit too thick. So we'll then have this one here, I think. Put these two yellows up. Now there's 10 colours in the... Is it 10? No, 8 colours in the Carnival collection. We're not going to use all of them. We're only perhaps going to use 6 of them.
Many hours later.
So what we need to do now is just let that dry, and then we can put our final colour on, what should be black, which is what we use to get the highlighting. So just dry that off with a hot air gun. Oh, put one there I missed. There's a bit there I missed. So what colour are we going to do that? Let's do that red. No, not red. Yeah, red. Alright, so now what we need to do is get some black and just gently dust over the edges. So just a bare amount of black we want coming through. Bare minimum. Like that. So all we're going to do is just go over the lines. And just gently bring it over our colour. And that just gives us a shadow look. So the next stage is to remove all the tape. So just going to peel this off and reveal what we've got underneath it. This is the moment of truth, and we will see if we have any bleeding through or if it's worked. So from what I can see, we haven't got any bleeding through. From what I can see, got a couple of little bits where we haven't cut the tape back far enough, but other than that, we have no bleeding through our edges, which is absolutely perfect. So what we need to do now is need to sand and seal that. Obviously, if we use a wipe-on sand and sealer, that's going to move all our colours. That's not what we want to do. We want to try and keep the colours as uniform as what they are. So we're going to use a spray sand and sealer. So I'm going to cover my lathe up so we don't get sand and sealer all over the lathe. Going to give this a couple of coats just to seal it up. So, and this is where the colours will really come through and show us the depth of those colours once we get it sealed. So we'll just let that flash off. We'll denib it and then we'll give it another coat. Just going to wipe it clean, make sure we got all the dust off of it. We're going to give it another coat. So I've just realised that I've actually just sprayed acrylic gloss lacquer over that and not sand and sealer. So we'll let that dry off. We can't cut it back now and seal it afterwards because we've already sealed it. But you're supposed to put sand and sealer over it, not acrylic gloss lacquer. So stupid mistake. Should have made note of what I was actually doing, but it is what it is. So what we'll do is we'll just flash that off, and then we'll just buff it up. So because we've put acrylic lacquer on there rather than sand and sealer, it's actually not very smooth. It's a bit rough because what's done, it's swollen the grain, and we're going to struggle knocking it back because obviously it's a lacquer, not a sand and sealer. So just gently knock that back and see if that will actually knock back a little bit, just to make it a little bit smoother. It's actually knocked it back a little bit, so it's actually knocked it back quite a bit actually, so it's a lot smoother than what it was. So anyway, when you seal it, use sand and sealer, not acrylic lacquer. But there's the principle. That is what we wanted. There's the finished piece. So it's very similar. You're never going to get the same patterns unless you use exactly the same every single time. But other than that, that's what it is. There's the pattern. That's how I did it. So I hope you've enjoyed. If you do one, send me some pictures. Let me have a look at it. Be really intrigued to see what you come up with. But anyway, that's how you did it, and that's how you get the effect. So, thank you very much for coming and watching. Take care, speak to you soon, and bye for now.